Well, we're back on the road to the Kentucky Derby, but it is a slow week here. Not at Horse Sense, where we always keep busy, but in general on the road to the Derby. We saw a couple of busy weeks. We're going to see a real busy one next week with the Holy Bull and the Rebel Saturday and Sunday. That should be awesome. But we're going to recap some of the stuff and maybe debate a little, maybe agree a little. It's up next on Horse Sense.
Welcome back to another episode of Horse Sense. As always, I'm Bailey Armour, joined alongside my close personal friend who I miss very much when I was in Denmark last week, the one and only Scott Shapiro. Like Scott mentioned in the beginning, things are a little bit quieter this week, but we are back on the work tab, so to speak, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Derby prep, Triple Crown prep races and horses that we've been doing with a new segment this week we're calling Debate Club that we'll get into in just a minute. Scott has written a couple of articles, blog posts for our website called the Prep School Series, kind of taking a really academic approach and look at some of these horses. So we'll go through them together, see if we agree, if we disagree. Spoiler alert, I think there's a little column A, a little column B, a little bit of both going on. But promotionally this week, there is only the one Triple Crown prep race at the John Battaglia Memorial at Turfway on Saturday. So our retail promotions will line up with that. Of course, that is the next installment in our $10 money back special series in these Triple Crown prep races. And then another edition of the 2 million first rewards points hit and split on the late pick 4 on the Turfway card. So a little something there before we ramp back up into all of the action next week.
Sounds good. I'll have a blog up on the late pick 4 hit and split it, which includes the Battaglia. So I'll have thoughts on that as well. Big field they got there. Hasn't necessarily produced. The winners haven't made big impressions in the Derby since 2021 when it became the official points race. But who ran fourth a few years ago?
Who ran fourth a few years ago? Was it Rich Strike?
It was Richie, one Rich Strike. Yeah. So he ran fourth. So I've learned to not sneeze at these races because, man, that was my Derby. I had a cold and he just came along to ruin the party. Not that it was all that. In terms of our action tournament-wise, we've got 2 more weeks left and to beat the host. Only a few more people eligible for the broom job for the sweep bonus. So 2 more weeks. Zoe Cadman takes the baton from Samantha Perry, who helped knock some people out last week in that amongst those that were looking to qualify or looking to hit that bonus. And then we're getting excited for the Ultimate Betting Challenge on March 7th, $6,000 $6,000 buy-in there. 5 and 1, but there's qualifiers for that. I know there's been a couple of them already. So definitely a tournament. One of my favorites that we offer, because if you've been following our tracks over the year, you get to really, attack the entire cards and they combine. We get some Gulfstream and a lot of Santa Anita. So looking forward to that quite a bit. Well, Bailey, we're moving along on the road to the Kentucky Derby. We mentioned already a couple of times it's kind of a slower week. Of course, we got the Battaglia Memorial, which did produce Rich Strike, but in many ways, it's a good breaking point. The Risen Star kicked off the 50 points to the winter races. So it's kind of a time that, take stock of what is going on. And that's something that I'm doing in a new blog that you mentioned, Prep School, which is out every Tuesday on the Xpressbet and FirstBet blogs. And it's basically a look, for the most part, it's a look at the preps, but from a forward perspective. So maybe horses that we want to get excited about betting next time out, vice versa, horses that maybe we want to fade because we think the public will bet them or likes them more than we will, things like that. And there's some also forward-looking stuff, kind of one that we'll actually talk about in a moment that I know, we have a little bit of a disagreement on maybe. But that's going to be how we focus it. And we're going to turn the prep school into a debate club because Bailey's going to take it to me on some that she absolutely disagrees with. And she'll have to wait 2 days to be able to yell at me for them since it comes out Tuesday and we record on Thursday. But
plenty of time to stew.
Yep, time to stew. So I think there's 2. I think you look back at the articles. You came back, maybe capped a little of my prep, maybe took part in prep school a little bit in Denmark. Nah, just kidding around.
I unfortunately did not watch any race when I was in Denmark. I was kind of fully unplugged. I think it was much needed and a good reset before we get into the season. We did see the racetrack in Copenhagen. It's called Klampenborg. When we went up to this like deer nature park that they have up there, there are a bunch of houses that sit right on the first turn. Like, okay, I'm ready to retire and move there because they were beautiful. But back to the American racing at hand.
Yes, and debating and agreeing maybe, but I know you look back the articles, and there were a couple of the chapters, or not chapters, segments, a couple segments.
There you go.
That you wanted to talk about. I think the first one that came to mind is kind of an obvious one that is a very good topic at this point, because we're 2.5 months out, right, or getting close to 2 months, and we haven't really separated yet. And the recent Kentucky Derby future pool, which was kind of a focus on my most recent prep school, the second volume, because it was speaking to where we are on the road to the Derby. That happened and closed on Sunday. All other 3-year-olds, went off at 9-2. Paladin, the number one in terms of a individual entry off of his win in the Risen Star, 9-1. And there were a few others that were under 20-1, not many. Renegade nearly was the second choice. And Canaletto was one that I pointed out in my article that I thought was an underlay at this point. I had very little interest in. What stuck out to you in that article? Or, thinking about the question, not in the article.
Yeah, I think of that futures pool, I would definitely take all of the 3-year-olds from the top, sub 20-1 horses. I just don't get why Canaletto is 15-1 at all. He won the maiden by 8, sure, at Gulfstream, but that was one race. The same connections Chad Brown and Coolmore already have Paladin, at the top of the points leaderboard here. I don't think that they are as close in class as maybe the closing prices on this future pool may see. Maybe I'm just missing something glaringly obvious here. This side of the debate on this particular issue, I am in full agreement with you. I think that you can find much more value. I would rather take Paladin or Nearly at shorter prices than Canaletto at 15-1, because one race on January 25th, the day after Pegasus, does not a Derby horse make, in my opinion, especially for a trainer that doesn't really push his 3-year-olds this early in the year. If he's really not going to, then I'm really not going to bet him in the futures pool. Like I said, would much rather take shorter prices on horses that I think are better off of just the one race. I don't really see how he made it into this cut at all, to be perfectly honest with you. So maybe you can shed some light on what I'm not seeing, even though we're in agreement that this is not a great value.
Yeah, I think part of it is we're lacking star power early on in this crop, or middle of the road, wherever we're at. I think nobody's really wowed. I think I've seen some people suggest that Paladin is this clear favorite right now.
I don't think so.
To me, he just hasn't separated himself at all. Chip Honcho was not that much horse, and it was all out to beat him, albeit in the first start back. But I'm with you. I mean, none of the options are attractive to me up at the top. I'm with you. For gun to head, I'd take all others. But I went searching down the board a little more when I was looking at it. But Canaletto, I mean, when you win at the 1-turn mile that easily, you're talented. But that's not really what we're betting on here. We're betting on winning the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And he's got to be pretty much the goods. You're basically taking 15-1 now that this horse is not only going to not miss a beat, because he can't miss a beat. Really, no one can miss beats.
Yeah.
But this horse really can't. So he's basically going to have to, run the table here to get there, because to your point, some barns, their whole business plan is to get to the Kentucky Derby and try to win, get entries there. Todd Pletcher's been the best of it in recent memory.
Yes.
Brad Cox gets a lot of horses there now. And that's what that's what they're really like. If you ask them, to be honest, that's their number 1 and number 2 goal. Get horses.
Yeah.
Whereas Chad, that's not the case. Of course, he wants to win the Derby. I'm probably more than anything else. I mean, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but he doesn't push his horses. And you just don't have to go back that far. Cloud computing in 2017, I think it was.
I think that's right. Sounds right.
Something like that. But he could have gotten in the Derby. He would have been 20-1 or something. But nobody skips that opportunity. Chad did. You know what I mean? So it's I just don't think that the combination and the risk reward is worth there. It's not necessarily for me a knock on the quality of the horse. It's more what has to happen. I mean, he could win the Preakness by 8 for all I know. I just think betting him at 15-1 in the Derby. I mean, he's going to be, for him to be twice as low as 15-1, which is like, you can get it 15-1 and the horse is 7-1. You got to be happy, right?
Yeah.
For him to be 7-1 in the Derby is going to take quite a couple months here, right? So
yeah, we're going to need to see like at least 2 more starts from him before we could consider him to be like an actual contender in this crop. But like, what would those even be?
I don't want to make rules though, because we saw Justify laugh at them. You know what I mean? Like, and this horse has
that's true.
Wrong. But I'm just looking at when he ran last and making sure he didn't. He ran on January 25th, right?
Yeah, the day after Pegasus.
I mean, I would think he's not going to run in the Fountain of Youth next week. I would think Chad might send him to. I could see him going to. Yeah, I think he only gets one. I mean,
are they going to go to the Wood? Like,
no, I mean, I think it will be earlier. Maybe this is his Louisiana Derby horse, because I think he's gone to Bluegrass with Paladin. I don't know, but we're as we talk it out, it just tells you, he's basically going to have to win in the Derby.
Puzzling, right?
Starts or rushing back, and none of these things make. Well, people just think he might be the most talented horse. That's why he got that. That's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Well, what was the other one you had? I think was looking back a little bit to 2 weeks ago, and I wrote about keeping an eye on a horse, which will probably be the last topic. Excuse me. In a lot of these articles, with a lot of these articles, it'll be like the last topic, kind of looking forward instead of who. And I think it was horse I was keeping an eye, or what was it?
It was the horse you were keeping an eye on, and 2 weeks ago it was Soldier and Diplomat, who I also really liked before that. Mine, and then the next segment of said article was the horse with the most approved, which was Golden Tempo, which leads me into that's my horse that I am keeping an eye on next. Do I think he could automatically win the Derby? No. Was I wrong about the Cherie horses when he was going to run against Mesquite? And I like Mesquite better? Yes, I was. And I will admit that now. But, I mean, that was an incredible closing kick from him in the Risen Star. He was never going to catch Paladin and Chip Poncho, but, like, he got up there by everyone else. This is a horse that I would kind of automatically include in my trifectas the next time he runs in one of these prep races. I really, really, really like this horse.
Well, I mean, the majority of people, it's good to be a contrarian in the gambling world, especially in a parimutuel pool where you're betting against others, because I think in general, his stock went down after that race, right?
So, yeah, I think so. I mean, Paladin and Chip Poncho kind of took the lion's share of the attention there, which I'm totally fine with. It's a parimutuel game. So let Zig and I'll Zach over here with this horse.
Yeah, I'm not there with them now, but I wasn't there with them going into the race either. I just kind of thought that Lecomte was underwhelming, and until I see otherwise, I'm going to go with that. But and I went with it. Well, there really wasn't a lot of betting to be done in that Risen Star, so I really didn't go with it, to be honest. But he was the fade for me. I thought Chip Poncho was the bet, got beat, but wasn't a play for me necessarily, or a big play. But yeah, I just I don't know. I just was underwhelmed by it. Is he going to the Bluegrass or the Louisiana Derby, or they haven't said?
I don't think they've said, not that I've seen. I would think, gosh, I don't know. What would I do if that was me? Probably Louisiana Derby, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the horses bail in the Louisiana Derby. It's almost always been not almost. In the recent years, it's been a less strong race than the Risen Star. Because guys like Chad bring their best horse there, and then they go to the Bluegrass, Yeah.
So this could be a good opportunity for him to stay there and kind of take advantage of that.
I think Renegade is going to the Louisiana Derby, is what I heard, though.
Louisiana Derby, not Arkansas Derby?
I think they changed. I think it changed.
Oh, I was excited to see him because I'm going to be at the Arkansas Derby. I'm going for a bachelorette party. So I was hoping to see him there, but
nice. Well,
I guess.
Before we wrap up and before you go to Hot Springs, long before. I wanted to give a horse that kind of, an updated, a horse I'm keeping an eye on, like you mentioned, Soldier and Diplomat, who I think is super talented. He might be the most talented 3-year-old, but I worry a bit about his his ability to get the distance based on pedigree and whatnot. But I kind of think I'm kind of hoping he's in the Pate Mile. I think he'll be a single maybe in there, but
Ooh, okay.
but the horse I'm keeping an eye on. Geez, I'm struggling here.
Chug, 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 chug. You did. Shame.
The
You were
horse
saying?
I'm trying to keep an eye, and I bet this horse in that last pool is Blackout Time. He's kind of been forgotten, but he's done very little wrong. We saw that he could finish. I don't think distance is an issue if we come to the first Saturday in May. And, he'd been forgotten about for a while. The lights go down.
And the lights are sunsetting. This is like the Oscars music, like you're getting played off.
I've talked too long. But Blackout Time has, I think, 4 works. I think he's going to be in the Rebel next week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's set up to be third off the layoff in the Kentucky Derby, which is exactly what you would want, not by accident. So he's been forgotten. He got beat by Ted Nafi. I'm not worried about that. He's not in the race, and that was a long time ago. I think he's a legit horse. So he's the one I'm keeping an eye on, and doesn't mean I'm going to bet him in the Rebel. We'll see how that race shapes up, but I think he's got some upside.
As always, thank you so much for watching another episode of Horse Sense, as we tried something new this week with our debate club segment, referencing back to Scott's prep school articles. Like he mentioned, those will come out every Tuesday as we continue through this Triple Crown prep season of races. A little lighter on the calendar this week, just with the John Battaglia at Turfway, which of course comes with our $10 money back special and the 2 million first rewards points hit and split on the late pick 4 on that card. But we'll continue to do this segment as we travel down this Triple Crown trail and get closer and closer to the first Saturday in May. Good luck this weekend, and let us know if there's anyone you like in the Battaglia or any of your thoughts on some of these Triple Crown prep recaps we covered this afternoon. All right.
I hate the Triple Crown prep thing, even though
I know, I hate it too.
I know